The fire next door when Elena Rojas was sworn in as Venezuela's youngest president on January 10, 2026. She didn't wear a military uniform or wave a rifle. She wore a simple white manta, held her mother's rosary, and quoted Simon Bolivar, "A people that loves freedom will in the end be free." For a week, hope flickered. She released political prisoners, reopened talks with the IMF, and invited UN human rights monitors into Caracas. Even opposition leaders cautiously praised her break from the past. Then Washington blinked and pulled the trigger. On day 8, the U.S. Treasury froze $3.2 billion in Venezuelan assets held in American banks' funds earmarked for food imports and power grid repairs. Secretary of State Vance declared Rojas a puppet of Havana and Moscow, despite her public break with both regimes. 2 days later, USAID quietly canceled all humanitarian contracts with Venezuelan NGOs. Then came the drones. Not armed, but surveillance. U.S. Customs and Border Protection drones began patrolling the Caribbean, monitoring illicit trafficking. But their flight paths clustered over Puerto Ordaz, Maracaibo, and La Guaira, the very ports Rojas had opened to private trade. "The goal is clear," said General Mark Reyes on Fox News. "Isolate her before she stabilizes." But Rojas refused to play the victim or the villain. In a live address from Miraflores Palace, she stood before a map of Venezuela crisscrossed with red lines. U.S. sanctions since 2017. "You call me a threat," she said, voice calm but sharp as glass. "But your sanctions killed more Venezuelans than any dictator. You bombed our economy, then blamed us for the rubble." She didn't expel diplomats, didn't nationalize U.S. companies. Instead, she did something bolder: transparency. She published every contract with China, Russia, and Iran showing oil for medicine swaps, not weapons deals. She live-streamed cabinet meetings. And she invited independent journalists, including American ones, to tour hospitals receiving Cuban doctors and solar panels paid for with Brazilian reais. The U.S. response? A new executive order banning all U.S. citizens from investing in Venezuela's oil sector, and labeling Rojas a significant threat to national security. At the UN, Ambassador Rafael Mendoza slammed the hypocrisy. "When Maduro jailed critics, you called it tyranny. When Rojas frees them, you call her dangerous. What you fear isn't dictatorship, you fear a Venezuela that chooses its own path without you." Back home, protests erupted not against Rojas, but for her. Students marched with signs, "We're not your backyard." Fishermen in Margarita Island burned, U.S. flags made of old nets. Yet Rojas knew the real battle wasn't in streets or speeches, it was in survival.